Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm here to talk about adding lighting to the Kubota BX. If you have a BX or if you've been looking at them at all, you know that these things are not very helpful. They're actually still, this thing's brand new. Well, it's from this year, and these are still halogen bulbs that's inside it, and they're not very bright. Not very bright at all. And I know there's a very simple upgrade to just change, you can see the bulbs in there, to just change those bulbs to LEDs, and they're much brighter, which is great, I suppose, but that doesn't help you when you got a loader that comes up right in front of the headlights. And specifically right now, I need more light front and rear for snow blowing, because it gets dark super early while I'm, and I'm working throughout the day. I'm blowing snow at night, and it gets real dark. So I'll show you what I've done. Not necessarily saying it's the only solution, the best solution. I was trying to make do with what I had. So I'll show you the install setup that I had that might just give you some ideas in terms of what you can do. My advice for lighting is always get it up as high as possible. And that way you just get flexibility. You can point them down, you can point them over to the side, but you get those lights as high as possible, because then there's less obstructions lower than you, and the source of light is above your head. That's ideal, right? So then as the operator, you never have a bright light shining in your eyes or anything like that. So the ROPS is the easy solution. The challenge that I had is it's a folding ROPS, and I used to have to fold it to get it in the garage, but I've since added an automatic door opener, and it fits now. Like it basically rubs the seal on the top. Like it just fits, because I was able to get the door completely open. It's a 7-foot door, and like I basically, if I overinflate my tires, I'm screwed, basically. It's that tight. So I can't even put a U-bolt on top of the ROPS or anything like that, but I can keep it extended now while pulling into the garage, which is awesome. I don't have to fold it down nearly as much. Mowing the lawn in the summer is still probably going to be an issue, because the trees that hang over and whatnot, but again, I really want to get the lights as high as possible in the summertime, when if I do need to fold it down to mow the lawn, I don't need lights for that. So yeah, so this is what I did. Now, before anyone panics, you'll notice there's no U-bolts holding these lights on. And I did not drill holes through the ROPS. I know that that is a big no-no. You never want to compromise the structural engineered integrity of your protection system, and I did not do that. These were factory holes. The BX, you can see there's more here, but it basically comes with 4 holes on each side. And so those holes were already there, and I just chose to use them. Again, I just tried to make do with what I already had in the garage. This is not a review of the lights themselves. These are just cube lights that I got for cheap off Amazon. Like, there's nothing special about these lights at all, but even the cheapest, worst lights you can get on Amazon are gonna do a lot better than these. So right now, it's not about the lights. I would like to upgrade them at some point, but that's not here. So what I did, I used to have these up on my side-by-side before I put the cab kit on it, and I took them off. I had these 4 cube lights already, and this here is actually a bracket from a mount. I'll show you a picture of that, actually, just that I got off Amazon, and it was actually a ROPS mount, like a clamp mount for my side-by-side, but that was a tubular ROPS, so obviously it won't fit here. But I was just looking at it, and I said, hey, you know what, using one of these holes, if I just run a bolt through it, I can mount this bracket, and should be good to go. And I was pleasantly surprised to just have enough space to mount a front and rear facing light on each side. They do have to be repointed, but on each side, using these little brackets, which was great. And you can sub anything out for those. You can make your own brackets. You can take a piece of angle iron or angled aluminum and drill holes through it. Hell, you can even mount your lights right into these holes if you wanted to, right? One facing forward and with the lower hole go backwards. That would work. With this hole, you can see now I didn't do the cleanest job that I would have liked, but I ran the wiring in through the second hole, and the wiring is actually inside the ROVs, and it goes up and over and down and comes out this bottom hole on the other side, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is my switch setup, and I've got a video that is basically unboxing. This was provided by Auxbeam for testing purposes and review, and I had done a contents overview just to kind of show what it's all about. I am in love with this switch. I absolutely love it. This is, now I realize it can't really mount like to a completely bone stock with no accessories BX this way. This is a bracket that I had purchased online that holds my Milwaukee Packout toolbox or a cooler or whatnot, and I just decided to use that mounting plate. Drove some self-tapping screws through it and mounted the switch there. There was literally no spot, no place here to mount a switch this size without getting real crafty anyway. And then there's actually the control box, which all the wiring runs into. And again, couldn't really find any space under the hood. This is packed. And so there's really no space. I was gonna put it under the floorboard, but a lot happens under that floorboard, especially in the summer, and I was just trying to avoid that if possible, and I was able to, but it's because of this this bracket here. You can see underneath, that's where I've mounted the control box and all the wiring, which then runs under the tractor, basically up to the front, where the breaker panel, not breaker panel, sorry, it's only one breaker, and the breaker is mounted right beside the battery, just behind this cage. Works out super well, and the switch is great. I know a lot of people, like, you could just do a small toggle switch or something up front if you wanted to. This is nice because it gives options. I'm gonna go into depth on this switch and kind of walk you through it, because if you are looking at lighting upgrades for your tractor, whether it be a BX or anything else for that matter, and you don't have a switch panel already available, I would highly recommend this alternative to the traditional toggle switches, because again, it's kind of future-proofing, right? Right now, all I have wired up is front and rear, but I've already put the stickers on the buttons for strobe, because I will be installing a strobe light like a beacon in a couple days, and then a horn. I'm going to put a horn in it as well, as you can see. So I just put blanks on these buttons just to kind of black them out for now, but if and when, most likely when, I add additional 12-volt accessories, the same switch panel will be able to control them, and I love it. It's nice and clean, it lights up. Let me show it to you, actually. I'll show you some of the features. Let me turn on the ignition. So it is wired to the ignition. I got my hazard lights on. It is wired to the ignition. Kubota actually gives you leads right at the back, by the way, on the BX series tractors. So you don't have to tap into the fuse box at all. There's a power, a ground, and an ignition power wire. Mine was wrapped in blue electrical tape sort of thing, and behind that there's some leads. It's super easy to access, which was great. You can see here the switch lights up, and you could change the color of this, which is super simple to do, actually. I'm trying to remember now. I say super simple, there it is. So you just tap a button and the on-off button at the same time, and then as you hold these buttons, you can see it's changing the color of the backlight, and it'll go through the entire color wheel. You can change it to whatever you'd like, and it really stands out at night, which is great. I'm really enjoying this. Oh, I just saw my sticker has a little hole in it. I'll have to replace that. Anyway, so that's that. Now, in order to like you can see the lighting system here. If I turn on the front lights, oh, that's bright, right in my face. But you can see it does light up here to inform you that the front lights are on, and can confirm the front lights are indeed on. Sorry for that. Now to turn them off, I can either just press that button again, and now I can see again because they're not shining in my face, or I could, when they're on, I could just use this button here. It'll turn anything that was on off, and then when I activate it again, anything that was on will turn back on, right? So if I had my beacon and I had my front and the strobe lights on, I could turn them both off using this button and then just reactivate them both at the same time, which is really cool. Rear light, same thing there. Maybe I should have demonstrated with that so I don't blind myself. I can light up the hockey gear there. Okay, now the really cool thing about this switch, I've already shown you the RGB where you could change the colors of the lights, but you, like the backlight, sorry, but it's also multifunction in the sense that you've got a couple different modes that you can toggle through. So it's got the toggle right now. Why did I do the front one again? Right in my eyes. Okay, the toggle one, here we go. But you can also put it into a momentary. So that's what I'll have for the horn. I don't have it set up for that yet, but because the horn's not installed. But set up the horn for momentary, where you push the button, you're holding it while the horn's going off, you let it go and it stops. It would be good for like a winch or something too. And you have pulse mode. So for strobe lights, I can basically turn these into strobe lights. I'll do the rear ones this time because I'm learning from my mistakes. So it's really simple to do. Watch, tap this twice. And see they're red right now. That means toggle. If I push it to blue, let's see what that gets us. Oh, there's momentary. Okay, so press it, let it go. Press it, let it go. So you see how that works. And then if I change it to green, there's the strobe. Okay, so I now just turn these light cubes into strobe lights. Ooh. And you can turn those on or off. I could just switch it quite simply back to toggle mode, and they're on solid. Really neat. It's a great switch setup so far. It's very solid. The wiring is neat and organized, all within that control box. The lighting is super bright at night, like the backlight of the switch itself. Very bright at night, easy to find. This isn't just good for tractors or anything like this, but it is also waterproof, so it is good for tractors. And you know, the jury's still out in terms of that long-term durability. I could tell you the housing of the switch itself is aluminum, so it's quite solid. But being in an open station cab tractor, doing a lot of snow removal and whatnot, the waterproof feature is going to be tested. It already kind of has, because I got it covered in snow already and it's been just fine, but it's still new. So we shall see. That's my setup so far. So again, if you are looking for some lighting solutions, you can leverage those two holes, find some sort of bracket or whatnot that fits. I would highly recommend you check out Auxbeam switches and their lighting setup. I'm hoping to get some of their lights too. I am an affiliate of theirs now that I got that switch. So if you are interested, I'll give you a link in the video description below where you can check out their website, where you can see the switch and everything else that they have. They've got a lot of goodies on there. And if you use the promo code ORVXplore at checkout, you save 10%. So that's great. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you like this video, you know what to do. And if you have any questions, drop a comment below. Thank you.